Yo, this is DPS podcast. That's Damage Per Second podcast, episode 225. And we are back on a fine Thursday night, feeling price hikes. What? Oh, wait, but you mean for... No, there's no way. There's no way, no. Hold on, you may be hearing me. Okay, you're hearing me from a different input, but they weren't, because that's Discord. Okay. Oh.
You sound better now.
Yeah. You were, yeah. So anyway, you may have been muted for that first like 5 seconds. Well, no worries. You know, all you told me was I was using the wrong mic. At least for Discord, I was using the wrong mic.
Oh,
anyway.
I was muted. Oh,
not really.
not really. You know,
not really.
The chat tells all. Just saying. But,
hey, now look. You were muted for 5 seconds. Okay.
5 seconds.
Not 5 minutes.
5 seconds. 5 seconds too long.
Not 5 minutes like it was when you were hosting at times, and I'm having full-on conversations. I'm having like very like well thought out, well, not all that well thought out, but very like philosophical. Whatever. I was saying some profound things, and ain't nobody hear it but you, because I was muted. So you know, those were the days, but that don't happen no more. All you told me was,
today.
for 5 seconds. Okay. But, 5 second rule, like when the food hit the floor, 5 second rule. It's still good. Good.
It only took Microsoft less than 24 hours to tell everybody that their system's gonna cost more, but okay.
Hey, it wasn't 24 hours, it's 5 seconds. Anyway, look,
okay.
DPS podcast, episode 225. We got this show is gonna be funny. Oh man, I was told to be angry tonight. That's what I was told for today.
Who told you to be angry?
Let me see who sent me this message here. Let me go back to my Twitter.
Who told you that you needed to have fame?
Glacian said we need angry SloMoBackSlap. I don't know if you're getting that.
SloMo can't be angry about this. It's something that we all knew was gonna happen at some point.
Some of us knew for certain it was going to happen.
Yeah, this is
last week. Yeah. And so if you would have caught me last week when I heard about this, you would have got a different reaction. Tonight, we'll see what happens. But anywho, my co-host Gaming Forte, how you been, bro?
I'm good, man. Just to let you know,
we were supposed to play Call of Duty, and I said, hit me when you're ready.
What day was that?
You don't even remember the day.
No, because there's been a lot of stuff going on this week. What day was that?
I feel like that was Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, Tuesday. That's what I thought. I was in the hospital with my wife that day because she had her surgery, and I was thinking, I thought we was gonna get out earlier. And by the time I got home, oh my God, we were at the hospital from like 2 o'clock to probably 10, 11 almost. So by the time I got home, it was a wrap, bro. I passed out on the couch and everything. So just to let you know, just in case, I might like randomly just say, hey, got to go do something real quick because I got to help her get around and stuff because she still can't be walking by herself. So if I have to,
look, we didn't even need to be doing this show.
No, she's fine. No, she's
like
good.
That.
No, she's good. We have kids here too. I'm just letting you know, just in case she needs me to go help her do something, I will probably have to walk away for like 5 minutes, but that's it.
Cool, bro.
But she said she's good now.
Okay, that's good because I was about to ask if she's good. She's good.
No,
that's awesome.
No, everything's perfect. It's just the post-op and all that other crazy stuff. And I took the 3 days off work. I slept downstairs with her because she's not supposed to walk upstairs yet. It's been kind of crazy. Trust me, I miss my bed already. I had to sleep on my couch in a long time. But no, it's been good, man. Other than that, Expedition 33 freaking masterpiece. That game's awesome.
Bruh.
Go ahead.
Bruh.
Go ahead.
I mean, I made it in the thumbnail. I made it the S, and it's not even a topic tonight. How about that?
Yeah, it's pretty good, bro.
How far into the game are you?
12, about 12 hours.
12 hours.
I did a lot of it while I was at the hospital on Thursday while I was on my laptop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you playing it natively on the laptop, or were you playing it through GeForce Now or something like that?
Natively. No, I have a pretty decent laptop. Natively, baby. Natively.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah.
I have 40 hours in the game.
Oh my
okay.
God.
I have 40 hours.
Hold on. The hours I have.
No, because your mind about to be blown. I have 40 hours in Expedition 33 on Steam.
Oh
now
God. On Steam. Where else we play this game at?
Okay, so on Tuesday, when I had contractors in doing work in the house, they were, some of the work had to be done in the same room that I have my drop for it, my router, and so I had it disconnected for a little while. Then when it got reconnected, like, I'm in my basement, and it's like the air quality ain't the greatest when they're like working. They like tearing down walls, building stuff back up. It's like whatever you call it, sawdust, whatever the heck that stuff is. It's everywhere. And I'm looking at my PC, and I'm like, this thing is really pulling in a lot of air and pushing in out a lot. I don't want all that stuff in my PC. So I turned my PC off, and then I started playing Expedition 33 on Xbox because I have it through Game Pass. And long story short, I got about 3 hours. It says 3 hours. I feel like it's more, but I got about 3 hours in it on Xbox. And because I've been playing on Steam and the game doesn't have like cross save, I had to start over.
Right.
But did I care?
Nope.
No. Because the game is fire. Best RPG I played in years. And when I say in years, better than Dragon Age of Veilguard? Hell yeah. Better than Metaphor Refantasio? And I enjoyed both of those games? Absolutely. Name an RPG that came out in the past 2-3 years, it's better than it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it's better than it. It's better than all of them. Play Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Awesome story.
It's really
great visuals, combat, chef's kiss. Turn-based, but if you thought, if you someone who don't like Souls because you don't like having to dodge and parry, sorry for you, buddy, because you're gonna have a rough time in this one.
Man.
You gotta be on it.
It's pretty crazy. So
better than Sea of Stars, better than I haven't played Octopath Traveler 2, so I can't say for certain.
Man, Octopath Traveler is goated, bro. It's goated.
2 or 1? Which one are you talking about?
1 is goated. 2 is good. I think 2 is.
Well, I say it in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh well, yeah. 2 is not as good as 1. I still think 2 is really good. It's like something very nostalgic about the first one that kind of like just really sticks with you, especially with the characters and stuff. I think the characters in the second one are good. I just really like the cast in the first one. But let me tell you this. So you played Last of Us.
Hold on real quick.
Go ahead.
I want to read I want to read Game Logic. Shout out to Game Logic in the chat. His comment. He said, "Hey, yo, where are my Gestrels at? Let's get that sack of patat, homie." He's like, I know where he's been in the game for him to say that. If you don't understand the reference for Forte, you are not quite at that point. But
oh no, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of.
Act 1 is. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you about to say?
Act 1 is wow. The prologue sets the tone.
Yes, it does.
And then you get into Act 1 and you're just like, oh my, like as soon as it really gets started, you're just like shocked at like everything that I'm trying not to say spoilers, so like everything that's going on.
Out. He just knocked your character out.
Hey, look, man.
That was quick.
Things happen sometimes. Okay.
No, you did. You probably was like messing. One of your kids probably came in and messed with you at that moment.
Yeah. We're gonna say that was it. Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I'm showing this gameplay because I'm seeing I'm messing up all the time. Anyway, look, I'm now on Steam. Okay, no, on Xbox, I got about 3 hours in. I'm at I'm way more efficient now because I've done this already.
Right.
So it's like I 3 hours in, but my character's at like level 12, 13. And I'm already probably pretty significantly deep into the game. Act 1, that is. And I don't know if they call this, there's 3 acts in the game. I don't know if they call this Act 3 yet, but I am at a point now on Steam, and I'm 40 hours in, where the only thing I have left to do is to go into the end game, the point of no return. And so now I'm just basically trying to tie up all the side quest stuff that you have to do. Well, you don't have to do, but the optional stuff, the optional bosses, those Forte, have you fought the chromatic boss yet?
Yes.
Okay. Which one did you fight?
I'm trying to think which one that was. It was like 3-4 hours in.
Okay, I think
I'm trying to remember exactly.
The first chromatic, the very first chromatic that you run into. But logic says he ain't fought one because you would know if you fought a chromatic.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know.
You would know.
I don't know.
You would know because you'd be like, oh, my face. Like you'd be like, what just happened to me?
Is that noticeable?
Yeah. What just happened to me? You know, I might need to change my drawers. I might need to call a doctor. It's the chromatic bosses are legit, but they're also kind of like now I wouldn't say gimmicky, but like there is a particular way that you need to fight them to win. And I won't say which one this is, but I'll just give it an example. There's one where all he does, like he won't stop attacking you. You don't get a chance to get a turn in. The only way to beat the boss is the parry. You have to keep parrying, and then you'll get there's 2 of them. There's one where you have to beat him by doing, because if you parry all of the attacks in the combo, the last parry does a counter attack. And there's one chromatic boss where it's not even about counter attacks. It's that you just gotta exhaust him. Like this is Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. You know, rest in peace to both those gentlemen. But like it's like, you know how like Ali just wore Foreman out, like he just got too exhausted to continue on. That's how you gotta treat this boss. And there's the other one. The only way to beat him is to hit him with parry counters. It's just like those chromatic bosses, they have a particular thing that you need to be good at in order to win. And there's just some areas now and just real quick in the in-game area where even just the regular enemies, like my characters right now are at like level 50.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like fighting for my life against like the random enemies. That are chilling there. Like it's a strategy and the whole thing in order to just beat them. Like that's where I'm at in the game right now. But like, fantastic story, awesome characters. Lune, great character. Mela, great character. Gustav, man, it Sandfall Interactive is now, they are a studio that is a name now. You know, like they went from who is that to okay, next thing they come out with, I'm there day one. You know, like right. people are going to be looking out for them going forward. And there's a like Logic said in the chat, there's some bosses that will just one shot your team. Just straight one hit, you're dead. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what your setup is, your build. One shot, you're out. So I know we're getting long-winded talking about it, but Expedition 33 is awesome. I think when you really comes down to it, if you look at like, I think it's a guaranteed Game of the Year contender based upon its critical reception and the gaming community reception. I'm not saying it's going to win, but I definitely it's my Game of the Year. But would it win it? Probably not. But if we really looked at like nominees right now, it's usually 6. Clear Obscure, right? Split Fiction, GTA 6. If it's coming out this year, just throw it in the conversation, right?
Right.
Probably Ghost of Yote. So that's 4. Man, I don't know what the other 2 would be, but can't wait to find out, man.
Yeah, that's cool. So from what I'm hearing from everybody,
know the both of those in the chat.
What?
Go ahead, man.
No, I said from
Monster Hunter and Death Stranding 2. They said.
No. Well, Monster Hunter is great. But no, from what I'm hearing, like just like if you run into one or you fight it, you know you did. So it's like almost on that Valkyrie level in God of War. Like when you fight a Valkyrie, you know you fought. It's like it ain't no accident. If you fought something like that, you know you fought it. So you know. Right. Yeah, okay. So I kind of get what you're saying. It's like when you come across it, it's like, yeah, this is different. This is way different. Okay, yeah, I probably haven't gotten, well, I know I haven't gotten anything like that you guys are explaining. But yeah, definitely enjoying that game so far, man. And like I said, it was like me and you. I know when we talked about it, we saw that the showcase last year. We was like, yeah, that was the game that we were looking forward to the most, because we like the aesthetic and everything, and like it's very good to see that the aesthetic held up. The gameplay is even better than we thought it was gonna be, and it's just something different. Like we ain't gonna like dive deep into the story again, but just the premise around the story is just really cool and really fascinating and stuff. So really enjoying that. But the other thing I was going to ask you, on PC, you played Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, right? Or did you booted them up at least on your PC?
I have Part 2 in my cart. I haven't bought it yet because when am I going to play it? is the question. So I have played Part 1, which was a disaster. Mm-hmm. But no, I beat both of them on PlayStation. I've played Part 1 on PC and dropped it just because I couldn't deal with all the issues, and I haven't touched Part 2 yet. Yeah. Okay,
so as you know, we're going. Me, my wife, and my daughter, my youngest daughter. We watched the show together. Peyton has never played Last of Us, but she knows all the freaking story because ever since she started watching the show, she's went back and went to Reddit, read articles, read about the game. So she knows everything about what's happening in the game and everything. So she was like, yeah, we should play Last of Us. And I was like, well, that means I got to buy it because I know you're not going to play it on console. You want to play it on PC. And so I went ahead and bought the first one on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny. This was 2 days ago. So it was the night that my wife got home. No, it was actually yesterday. I take that back. It was yesterday. And as soon as it boots up in part 1, it tells you about controller support, and it tells you that this game is best played with a controller. And you should play it with a controller. And my daughter looked at me, was like, "Can I bypass this?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She said, "I'm a real gamer. What is a controller?" She's like, "I'm playing this with
a real gamer."
Dog, she is
Lord, she one of them now.
She is so elitist when it comes to like being playing with a controller. She's like, "I just can't stand a controller." I was like, "Peyton," I said, "You play with controller." She said, "But if I don't have to, I'm not going to." I was like, she looked me like, when I tell you, she looked me in my eyes like I was like it was sacrilegious that I said that a controller is okay to play with. She wasn't having it, bro. She was like, "Oh, okay, good. I can bypass this," and then persisted to go into the settings and tweak all her settings for the game. Turn her darkness and lighting levels up, because when you're in dark levels in that game, it's really, really dark. So you do got to tweak the lighting and stuff, or the brightness, I should say. And I think she's like 13 hours. No, so it was the day before, because she ain't played no 14 hours in one day. So she's at 14 hours right now in 2 days. She's gonna beat this game probably tomorrow, because I told her she couldn't play today because I had the podcast to do, and plus she had school, and she'd been staying up real late, hanging out with mom and stuff while she was here. But yeah, man, she kind of shot me with that one. I was like, "Yo, there is nothing wrong with a controller. I need you to get that out of your head. Controllers are great for people that like them. Just because you are an elitist and you don't want to play with a controller doesn't mean it sucks and you are a different gamer than anybody else." I said, "You are just another gamer that has a preference. I need you to say it back to me. You are a gamer with a preference, not a better gamer." And she was like, "Okay, I get what you're saying, Dad. She said, I didn't mean it like that." She said, "I basically mean, like, why would anybody that play on PC want to play with a controller?" I was like,
"Because
okay.
It depends on the game."
I said, that's what I said.
She has a lot to learn.
No, she has so much to learn, because certain games is like, listen, you got a lot to learn, dude. I said, and that's what I told her.
If it's a strategy RPG on PC, I'm using mouse and keyboard for that.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Because it's just better for all the options that you have. It's more accurate to like use the mouse and the pointer to hit certain parts on the battlefield and stuff like that. It's better. For that, but it's not better in all cases.
And not all cases, right? And I think she knows that too. But it was just funny watching her. But I will say this, man, watching her go move through the environment and using AWDS or ASWD, whichever way you want to say it, same way, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But watching her play it and maneuvering around cover, it just popping. Like when I tell you, like instant, you're barely shit. It's like she barely shows her body when she pops out of cover and pulls that trigger on somebody's head. It's magical, bro. I was like, I am jealous. I wish I had that type of control with mouse and keyboard. I wish I did. If I did, I would probably play mouse and keyboard exclusively on shooters and stuff. I can do pretty decent with it. I mean, you saw SloMo. I got a couple of kills, but it's still, I just haven't committed to it compared to kids nowadays. That's kind of what they grow up on, especially if they go to schools that kind of teach them, computer language and stuff when it comes to keyboard and mouse manipulation and things that you have to do to be able to type.
Right.
If they could do stuff like that, then they it's kind of easier for them versus me. When I went to school,
it's a different generation.
Yeah, when I went to school, that wasn't a thing like that. Like we had computer classes, they taught you stuff, but it wasn't like this thing that you had to have in order to pass a class. It was like all you had to do was just be able to type 20 words in a minute, and they were perfectly fine with it. Now they want you to be able you have to know key placements and everything. So I'm not even gonna lie. I was sitting there and I mind blown. And I've seen other people do it before, because I see other people that play on PC, other gamers that play with keyboard and mouse. But it's a whole nother different thing when it's like somebody that you brought up in the world and you see it for yourself. And I'm like, this mug is better than me. It's better than me. So that was really, really cool. But I had to like put her in her place about this whole you're a better gamer because you play on keyboard and mouse. I was like, no, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
But well, you know, her generation, kind of like my oldest, he prefers to play games with mouse and keyboard. He'll use controller when it's necessary, because it just, you know, there's some games where the implementation for mouse and keyboard isn't good. And so it's just like when they tell you it's preferred you play this with a controller, they're not saying it because it's their preference. They're saying we put more time in on the controller input and as you know for this game than we did for mouse and keyboard. So you can choose mouse and keyboard if you want, but it ain't going to be like as good experience as it is with other games that were designed with that in mind. And then you know, like I used to play a lot of shooters that were PC exclusive and extraction shooters that were PC exclusive, arena shooters that were PC exclusive. Almost all of them, controller is an afterthought, and they don't really like consider it, really think about it. Most of them, not most, maybe half of them. If you really want to be smart about it, if you're a developer and you want to get a game that's going to get a wide audience, you make sure it's got controller support. But if you want to placate the PC gaming community that whines about controllers and whines about aim assist or you know, any of that kind of stuff, then you just don't even put any kind of controller support in there. And there's a ton of games that are like that. And for those, I just dealt with mouse and keyboard for them. But it is what it is. You gotta figure out what works best depending on the game, you know. But let's go ahead and I mean, clearly we've been playing Expedition 33, you know, speaking glowingly of it. Let's get into these rapid fire topics. You ready? I still didn't do the bumper. I did not have time. It's okay. It's fine. But are you ready, man?
I am ready.
Okay, rapid fire topic. Rapid fire topic number 1. I think you hit the trigger a little too early. I didn't get a chance to get the full sentence.
Well, I thought you was gonna like go and then you pause for a second, but go ahead.
All right. So look, Nier Automata and Astral Chain director Takahisa I'm gonna say his name again. Takahisa Tora has confirmed he has left Platinum Games to start his own studio called, is this EL Game Studio? I don't know how to say that. EL? It's 2 E's and the L. Game Studio. I don't know how they say that, but he's got his own game studio now. He's not the lead guy there, but he's one of the founders of the studio. They haven't announced a game yet, but considering his pedigree, considering the work he did on Nier and on Astral Chain, which is a very good game that was exclusive to the Nintendo Switch, I do believe that whatever they do make is going to be pretty fire, because he is one of the, I think, what was the core reasons why Platinum Games was considered to be, people looked out for the kind of games they were going to make, and whenever they were, you know, working on stuff. So, Forte, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I mean, when did he leave?
Apparently, he left last year.
Right,
but he confirmed that he was officially gone this year. Maybe he had like a NDA or something and couldn't speak on it. Yeah. No, I mean, part of me feels like this is like a lot that has been happening across the industry with a lot of tenure heads of studios or very high up developers when it comes to like what. Part of me feels like when they look at where the landscape is in gaming,
always having to, you always have to prove yourself. You always have to like, one up the last thing you did. But I also think video games haven't become like, like how everything else is. Like if you work at a store, what goes up must come down. Like every, year over year growth can only go so far. And when it comes to like the expectations around what a game should do, it's kind of tied to the budget that you tie to it. And those budgets aren't getting cheaper. And the more you spend on the game, the more pressure it is for that game to perform, because it's a good chance that not only, you won't get a chance to make another game, you probably have a studio after that. And then that affects more than just you. It affects more other people too. And the people that you probably care about the most, which is the people that are a part of your team. So what I think is really happening is a lot of these people are deciding to leave these corporations or these bigger companies to start their own thing, because it's easier for you to like start over and kind of have a fresh view on like what you want to do inside of a particular sphere, and manage the budgets in a way that you need to manage them to make the game you want. Because when you're working for yourself, because that's what's kind of happening, a lot of these people aren't working for themselves anymore. They work for these bigger publishers that have deadlines in place. And not saying that you as a studio won't still have deadlines, but you could talk about things when you want to talk about them. And if it's going to take you 4 or 5 years to like kind of flesh out the game that you want to kind of make, or if you want to take time theory crafting the direction you want to go with a game, and then kind of, at that time that you decide what you want to do with it, you want to like modernize it to the times that you're in at that point. Because I do think what happens a lot, and the reason that a lot of these games don't hit, is the fact that it takes so long to make them. By the time it releases, it's like it's a thing of the past. Like the gameplay is a thing of the past, or anything like that, and that kind of hurts the playability, or not even playability, but just the popularity of the game. Because a lot of people they were interested in something like that 5 years ago, but not so much now. Not too many games can like supersede that. Like Grand Theft Auto and games like that, or Cyberpunk. They were able to do that. So I think it's a really, really good thing to see these heads of studio, these people go off on their own to kind of forge their own path again. It's really cool to basically have that opportunity to feel like you can still, make an impact without having to be at one of these big places in order to do it. So that's what I kind of see a lot of these studios or people doing with their studios. And then you kind of find out that a lot of people kind of poach and bring people that they worked with along with them, because this is something that's not just, thought of in the last minute. These conversations are probably being had all the time. And, until people get everything the way they want, they'll, tell people to stay where they are. And then next thing you know, such and such leaves this studio to go here, such and such leaves the studio, and you find out they end up in places that you probably didn't expect them to end up. But if you kind of read the tea leaves, like you said, he was deciding to leave, he left over a year ago, but announced it today. And it's a lot of different things around that. So I think it's really cool.
Well,
go ahead.
I think a lot of developers end up leaving and starting their own thing because, and it's not because I'm not a developer, so I can't speak, with like full authority on it. But I feel like it's because they don't like the way it's so much red tape
it's a lot of it.
The creative process done. Like for example, like we've been talking about we got Expedition 33 on the Jumbotron. We've been talking about the game glowingly for the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sandfall Interactive, the developer for this game, are former Ubisoft developers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's a lot. I've seen a lot of like people who work in the field talking about aspects of the game and saying, "Oh, there's just no way a AAA publisher would allow them to do this or that, certain aspects of the game."
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's no way that would have got approved. But there's nobody like, sure, they have a publisher called Kepler, right?
Yeah.
But like, clearly Kepler isn't like, hey, look, man, you got to do it like this. You got to do it like you know, a certain way, or we're gonna micromanage you and be on top of every little thing. Like I saw one character artist developer speaking on how if he wanted to put a cape on a character, how he would have to, before, it isn't just, you know what, we're giving this character a cape for this particular outfit. It's we gotta talk to the rigging team to make sure that the cape is like it when the character moves, the cape looks is working like realistically, and it's not clipping into other things in the like a weapon or a backpack or things like that the character may have on it. You gotta go through a whole bunch of other red tape to make sure that it's something that makes sense for the character with the narrative team, and then you can get all that stuff approved, and then at the end marketing will be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Where it's not going to work due to whatever like political reason or something. Hey, like, you know, people hate capes today, so you can't do that, so take it out. And it's just, when you're an independent developer, there's nobody telling you no. You just do it. Hey, look, I think a cape would be dope on this character. All right, go ahead, throw that thing in there. Just get it done. And I think when you see what they did with this game, I'm going back to talking about Clair Obscur, that it's not doing like something super innovative, but it's executing on things that like people have been looking for in games for a while, and implementing them in a very like high fidelity kind of way, because you could get like this kind of combat in other games, but they're typically like they don't look the way this game looked, and they don't have the high production values that this game has. And so I say all that to say that the guy from Platinum, Takahisha, you know, Platinum does not have a sterling reputation,
right,
to say the least. Like, they're very hit or miss. You know, for every Astral Chain in the Automata, there is a Babylon's Fall. There's that what was that licensed game they made? Did they make a Naruto game or something like that? They made some kind of licensed game that was like reviewed extremely poorly.
Talking about Jump Force?
No. I don't think they made. I don't think.
No,
Platinum
they didn't make that.
But,
no, Platinum. That was Namco Bandai, I believe.
Yeah, but like, if you just look at their development history, and it's littered with games that are pretty good games and some really awful games. And at one point in time, they got, when it came to, I forgot the name of the game, Cygames makes it, but they were like very strangely released as a support studio from the game. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was the game. They got released as support studio, and Cygames took over the work they were doing, which ended up getting the game delayed a little bit further. And it's just like, I think we'll probably never know what's going on internally at Platinum, but the environment, I think, just wasn't good for a lot of people that were working there. You know, Kamaya has left as well. Another famous director that they had. I forgot where he went, but it just seems like that studio is no longer really going to be a studio that people hear too much from, because a lot of the big names that were there and kind of put Platinum on the map are just no longer there anymore. Clizzle says, how do I super chat? It is the super chat button is not there.
Oh, they broke it.
There's no super chat button. What is going on?
You broke it.
Yeah, that is weird. Let me go. Forte, while I figure out what's going on, you
Actually,
go ahead.
I'll do it while you're. I'll look into it.
Okay.
But I haven't already.
Yeah, it probably just needs to have it. I mean that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I'm about to see why.
So anything else you want to say on that before we move on to the next one?
No, I'm good.
Cool. So Respawn Entertainment. Some bad news for those who are fans of Respawn and Titanfall. Because there's been a lot of talk. I feel like every 6 months there's talk of a Titanfall 3, and then people have to come out and say there's no Titanfall 3, bro. Like it's not happening. The game's not coming out. And so there was the disappointment that Titanfall 3 isn't coming out. In addition to that, Respawn has come out with a statement and announced that they have also canceled 2 projects and have been experiencing layoffs. They laid off officially about 100 developers from Respawn. EA as a whole has laid off anywhere between 300 to 400 developers. And, whenever we hear that, we definitely hope that they land on their feet in some way, whether it's still in the game industry or not, that they get another job soon. But around 100 developers laid off from Respawn, and the studio has talked about refocusing towards more content for Apex Legends, their next Star Wars game, which is probably the ending of the trilogy of like Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, with Kyle Kestis, and the strategy RPG that we spoke on in a previous episode that they're working on with Bit Reactor. So I think, and it's kind of interesting because although Apex Legends is a original IP and it's a spinoff or it's within the universe of Titanfall, but there's a lot of people that are kind of just disappointed in the state of the studio and its future. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Insomniac to a degree, because Insomniac now has kind of turned into like a Marvel games, MCU games factory. They make Spider-Man, they're making Wolverine, they're making the X-Men game. It's just like, but what about Ratchet and Clank? What about your own IPs? Those just get kind of like pushed off to the back burner. And Respawn is, I thoroughly enjoy Titanfall 2, but we probably never going to get another Titanfall out here. And it's seeing that they had 2 games that they were incubating, prototyping, trying to get ready for go into full production. And they canceled both those games and are now just putting the core people on those games on the same old games they've been making in licensed IP, which again, I like the Jedi games. Didn't quite like the optimization of Survivor, but is what it is. But it's just, I think it's a bit disappointing to see that essentially that's what their future is going to be, that you're probably not going to expect to find anything new or unique from Respawn anytime soon. Forte, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, I ain't gonna lie, I was trying to look at this, so I didn't hear the last thing you said about it. What was the last thing you said? I found out what the problem is, by the way.
What was the problem?
AdSense.
AdSense. But it's been like that from the very start. So why is it a problem now?
Because we probably hit that threshold.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So, guys, we'll get it fixed. It'll be taken care of next week. for certain. Sorry about that. What I was saying was I kind of feel like Respawn is going the way of not saying like they're going out of business.
No,
clearly not. No, they're too important to EA. But I feel like they kind of go in the way of Insomniac, where all the creativity is not all the creativity, but like a lot of their creativity as a studio is being stifled, because they're being kind of forced to work on licensed IP or a live service game they made that they gotta keep supporting, you know?
Yeah, the question really comes back to how much do you think this is kind of happening because Vince Zampella has been doing a lot outside of Respawn, especially since he's been working more closely with DICE and the Battlefield team. Because that's where
so you think he's spread too thin?
I'm not saying that he spread too thin because I think he can handle it, but I think when you're as the head of something, I'll talk about for myself. I run 2 stores. I give my main store probably more attention because I'm there most of the time. I give my second store a lot of attention, and it is very important to the things I do when I have conversations, but I have to lean on them for a lot of things that I can't do there because I'm not there as much as I'm at my main store. I'm at one store 2 days a week. I'm at the other one 3 days to 4 days a week, depending on if I'm going in and out. Sometimes I don't even make it to the B store in a week. So that's kind of so you're really wanting and needing your leadership staff in that place to really innovate and do things to make sure that things are moving in the direction they need to move in, especially when it comes to like decisions in the games and stuff that you're making. I think Vince is still a big part of that part of it, but I don't think he is attached to like a lot of the day-to-day stuff that goes on when it comes to like the play testing, going into a room and seeing exactly what the play testing looks like in a game to see if we need to like spruce this up or we need to have different ideas around the things we want to do in the game to kind of innovate in those different ways. I think that's kind of, and to a way, I kind of think that's why I'm not saying Apex Legend is falling down a cliff or something, but
it's definitely not doing as good as it used to.
It used to because it's stagnant, and I think it's stagnant because he has not been a part of that overall development pipeline for the game in quite some time. Like, does he still get stuff ran by him? Absolutely, but is he there to like meticulously look at day-to-day operations versus what he's doing on the Battlefield side of it? That's why I have a lot of high hopes for the new Battlefield, because I know that is what EA is banking on. They want the Battlefield franchise to be their main franchise. They want that to be their long-term franchise because it already has a built-in player base of over 2 to 3 decades of people that know what it is, you know? So I think that's why they want him to like really, really push forward with that. I think it's at the detriment to Respawn, but I also think the fact that Respawn hasn't even went back and visited one of their most important IPs. When I think about Titanfall, that's the game that.
Well, in that case, if it's what you're describing, right, and there's no guarantee that it is. Like you're talking about your experience, but it could be a variety of different.
He could be
reasons,
able to do it. All we know,
right?
You never know.
But if that is the case, why don't they just? Like, he's studio head for Respawn.
Yes.
Appoint a new studio head. Like, is that like too much that ask for? Is it the ego thing that he doesn't want to give that up? Is like what's the problem here? Because it just seems like to me that if that is the case, you can't really manage both to the same degree that you were before. Like clearly Vince is on the board of EA. So he's got a bit more, like as a studio head, he's always had more autonomy and freedom than other developers under EA. He never was forced to use Frostbite engine, which I think was definitely a great thing for Respawn. And he never had to really kind of deal with a lot of the other micromanaging that they did, because, you know, EA at one point in time was all like, hey, single player games are a thing of the past. We ain't making single player games. It's gotta have some kind of multiplayer component to it. But then around the same time, Respawn made Jedi Fallen Order that didn't have any multiplayer whatsoever. At one point in time, EA was like, hey, you know, every game got run with Frostbite engine. Sorry, it's how we do things now. And studios like BioWare and Visceral, you know, and EA Motive had to follow suit. But not Respawn. Respawn was still using Source engine.
Right.
So I think that has that kind of power allowed him to make Respawn as successful as it is. But now that he's not the person that's making, I mean, we don't know for certain, but I kind of feel like he's not the person that's making those day-to-day decisions. Right. And if that is the case, then the person that he's got in place for him is no different than, say, the studio head of some of these other studios that are forced to do things EA's way, you know? So it's just, I feel like to not be long-winded, that he might need to have some help here in order to make sure that Respawn's getting what it needs. And maybe that has happened. Maybe that's why, you know, there was an audit or an assessment, so to speak. And they were just like, hey, look, these games you're working on, you guys spread too thin. Too many projects. So in times are rough, the economy sucks. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus in on what works and what sells. And what sells is Star Wars games and Apex Legends. So all these guys, I need you to make a list of people who are essential that were working on these other games, keep them, and get rid of the rest. And here we are. Yeah, I mean, like, it's unfortunate, but this is what these are the kind of decisions these publishers make. And there's very little to do with creativity. It's very little to do with how good those games were looking. You know, they don't care. These people aren't gamers. They don't care if one of those canceled games could have been the next great thing. Get up out of here, man. Get them devs back on Apex Legends. This is what they thinking, you know? And this kind of leans into what we were talking about earlier about developers leaving Platinum Games, leaving Ubisoft, making their own projects where things don't get canceled because they need more bodies for the next season for their live service game. It's just, you know, it is what it is, man. All right.
Nope, that's it.
Anything else you want to say on this before we move on?
Yeah, I'm with you. That is it.
All right. So a third rapid fire topic. Pop. So Lost Soul aside. Lost Soul aside has been delayed again.
I told you.
Shocker. Shocker.
Yeah.
This game is, I almost want to say this game's never coming out, but they only delayed it like a few months. It's been delayed to August 29th, for like the end of August, basically September. And this might be the most delayed game I've ever seen in my life. Like, I have never seen a game with this many delays. This game's supposed to be out last generation. Here we are, like 5 years into current generation, and it's still not out. And as much as I was looking forward to it, I'm kind of skeptical now. Like, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a disaster. I feel like the combat might be dope, but like everything else is going to be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, it's a guy Yang Bang. You know, he's got a lot of juice. You know, so maybe he can make it work. Forte, what are your thoughts on this delay, man?
Man, I remember when we saw that they actually gave it, talked about it coming out this year. It's like, man, we never thought this game was going to come out, and guess what?
Yeah, I thought it was never going to come out. Yeah,
yeah. Now we're back to thinking like, okay, well, we knew it was coming, but now we're like, okay, but when? A couple months? Okay, that's fine. I just wonder what a lot of the, I wonder what was the reason for the delay. What was the window or date that they gave it initially?
I feel like it was supposed to be like May or June. It was definitely supposed to be May or June where it was supposed to come out.
Man, it's gonna be bad if they said a couple of months, man. That puts you midsummer, early fall. It's a lot of stuff coming out during that time. I thought that the May June window was like a perfect time for it to come out due to,
I agree.
Due to you know, other games like, you know, the other games that was going to compete with it, like Doom and stuff, you know, has a completely different audience. That's why I think a lot of people are loving, outside of it being in Game Pass and stuff like that. That's why I think Expedition 33 is doing well, because it came out at a really, really good time, where it pretty much has everything to itself. You know, the further you go into the year, you start messing around with other games. You know, we already know Madden's out there, college football's out there. Then you're talking about getting into September with Borderlands moving their date up to September 12th, and then we still, as much as we look side eye at Marathon, a lot of people are still going to give that game a try, at least on the day that on the release week that it comes out. So that's still a game that people have to like kind of deal with when it comes to time spending. So I just feel like at this point, is this going to be the only delay we're going to see for this game? Or
my gosh, they running into a buzzsaw.
That's what I'm saying. So
two games off the. Hold on. They delayed it to August 29th. Guess what else comes out the same day?
What?
Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
Oh yeah, they're gonna delay this game again, bro. This game, they just don't want to sell this game to nobody, do they? They don't want to sell this game to nobody, bro.
Mafia: The Old Country comes out the same month.
Ooh, I've been looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and you brought up Madden is coming out as well. It's just, yeah.
There's a game
they
for
really
all
needed
people during that time of year.
Oh,
and we're not even talking about. Go ahead.
Shout out to Miko in the chat. Miko says Metal Gear comes out the day before.
Yep, sure does. Snake Eater. Yep, sure does. Yeah, they messed around and found out. And then the thing is, they probably want to delay it longer than that, but they don't really want to go too far into October, November, because we all know what's laying there, and games go to die during that month if you're not Call of Duty. So I don't know, man. It's real interesting. It's an interesting play. I wouldn't be surprised if this game actually releases this year, honestly. You know, but then again, because it's not like we haven't seen games get delayed more than once. I mean, we've seen multiple studios delay a game twice, and
this game has been delayed like 5 times, man.
Yeah, that's why we always thought it wasn't going to come out, you know. So we'll see, but you know, more power to it. I mean, I'm definitely interested in it, and I know that's one of the games you've been super interested in for a while. But the one thing that I don't think publishers don't understand, the more you delay a game, the more people just get disinterested in it, because at a certain point,
my interest level is definitely low. On my channel, I made multiple videos about this game. I couldn't wait. The day one, I'm jumping in there. I can't wait to play it. And then, you know, I remember when what I'm showing on the Jumbotron is like an 18-minute gameplay reveal that they just dropped out of nowhere. And I was like, oh yeah, Like when I remember seeing it, I was like, oh yeah. Lost Soul Aside. Forgot all about it. And this had to been like 2 years ago.
Right.
That this came. So like everybody was thinking like, oh, it's about to come out real soon because they showed this. And I was like, don't know about that.
Right.
And here we are 2 years later and it's still not out. And it's in something, I think a good example of what's happened in this game's development that is problematic is what other developers have called feature creep. Because even when they showed this game recently, when they announced finally announced the release date of this year, and whatever the date was before they delayed it, they now have a female protagonist sidekick with the main character now. So like you see this sword thing that's like a little, looks like a dragon or a lion or something that follows him around. He can turn it into a sword. I thought it was a cool idea, right? But then I don't recall seeing that in his in the most recent gameplay, but there's this girl that's there now that was never a girl there before. And it's just like, you just keep adding stuff, bro. And something when it comes to feature creep is that the issue in a video game is that if you're like, you know what, we're deep into development. It's a single player game or a game where the combat is primarily with just one character. And then, out of nowhere, one of the directors goes, I had a dream last night. And I woke in my dream, our main character was not just by themselves fighting all these enemies. They're in a duo. It's him and his brother. And the two of them are fighting the clans, the ninja clans together, or whatever the heck the game is. This mythical game that I just made up, right? Like the amount of work a developer's got put in to change it from one character to two. And then you gotta think about like, are they gonna talk to each other?
Right.
Dialogue? Who's gonna voice that? Who's gonna do this? It's just like, there's so much extra work that goes into it. And it's just, compare what this game looks like right now to what he showed back in like 2016, 2017 when he first showed the game. It's like, it looks like the sequel of the game they first showed. And at some point you just gotta say, stop. What's the content that's in the game right now is the content that the game is going to ship with. If you come up with new ideas in the future, they going into DLC or a sequel if we get one. But we releasing this game. Like somebody has to put the foot down and be like, no. Like when, if you don't tell your kids no ever, then, they do go crazy and they just do whatever they want. Eventually you're going to have to tell them no. And somebody needs to tell Yang Bing no. This is, he's going full Bing, man. This is, I'm gonna adapt my Kojima line for this guy too, because Kojima, I feel like Konami used to tell Kojima no often. That Kojima, that's weird. No. Kojima, that's stupid. No. No, we're shipping this game. If we do what you want us to do, we're gonna have to delay the game for 1.5 years. No. And people hate to hear it, but when he was with Konami, he was dropping Metal Gear games that y'all love. And he left Konami, and he's giving you doodle bombs and Death Stranding. So I mean, I think there's a stark difference between the two. So I just feel like you gotta put your foot down and have a hard stop with these things in development. And this game is a classic case of no one's ever telling this guy no, and he just keeps iterating on an idea, which is fine if it turns out to be executed well, but at some point you gotta actually release the game for people to play. So Anything else you want to say on this before we
No,
get into
I agree with you.
our
100%.
last rapid fire?
Pop, 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 pop.
Last rapid fire topic. Where is that? Sorry, I'm trying to find the gameplay. There it is. Call of Duty. This is not about the fact that Seth Rogen is in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 now, which, yes, I'm buying the skin. Be mad, okay? I'm buying the skin.
Well, I thought we don't buy the skins of real life people.
I bought Rick Grimes.
That's not a real life person.
Yeah, but Andrew Lincoln, it looks just like Andrew Lincoln.
No, that is not a real life person, bro.
Look, have you seen?
We had this.
Have you seen the finisher?
It doesn't
Have
matter.
you seen the finisher?
No, wait a minute. It doesn't matter because when I said we were talking about this, I remember this conversation. We were talking about it in Fortnite when people were buying the LeBron James skin. And we was like, we are not.
Yeah, I ain't buying LeBron James.
We are not buying skins of real people. It's not even.
I'm not buying a LaFlop skin. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, after this playoff run,
LaFlop
definitely
James.
don't do it. But
yeah,
you buying a self.
I get
what he doing. What is he doing? Like, is he like, what's his finishing move he do on people? Is that what he's doing on it?
No, Seth Rogen's finisher is so funny. So he goes up behind someone and he slaps them. He tries to pistol whip them and it doesn't work. He slaps them in the back of the head with a pistol. The person turns around, bucks at him. Seth Rogen gets scared, drops the gun, and then the gun hits the ground and then backfires and shoots the guy in the head.
Oh, I have to see this.
It's hilarious. I sent it to you. It's hilarious. Did? Yeah. Check your DM.
I'm checking it now.
It is hilarious. And I said, I guess I gotta do that on somebody one time. I don't care how much it costs. Yeah. I just.
He's like,
see?
What?
See?
He literally bucked at him and he dropped the gun and just shot him in the head. That is pretty funny.
So I just gotta do it once.
He slapped him with the head, and the dude was like, "What was that?" He's doing like, "Yeah, what you thought? That's who I am." And when he turned around, it was like, "Oh shoot." But still, that's a real person's skin though. That's all right. I probably would have bought it too. I ain't gonna lie.
I haven't bought it yet. I haven't been in Call of Duty in a week.
I haven't either. I mean, I got the coins to do it still.
The last time I played like this gameplay I'm showing, I'm actually in Warzone. Numsy convinced me to play Warzone with him, and so I was playing Warzone. I wasn't even playing like my normal stuff. I think we after this match we may have jumped over the multiplayer for a bit, but no, I haven't played them. It's been all exhibition for me. So, expedition. I know when Ramon Terrell hears this, he's going to be pulling hair for how I keep pronouncing that game. Anyway, So back to the reason why I was bringing this up. It wasn't because of the Seth Rogen thing. Yeah. It was actually because there's a rumor that the next Call of Duty that's coming out later this year is being developed by Infinity Ward. And Infinity Ward, apparently, as of right now, the current build of the next Call of Duty does not have Omni movement in it. And it seems like they have no intention of adding it. And so, that's the new movement mechanic that was introduced in Black Ops 6. And I know there's some people that don't like it, but I kind of feel like you can't go back at this point. Like it needs to be something that's implemented in all of them. And I know that there are some that feel like, Modern Warfare should feel different than Black Ops 6. And I agree with that to a degree, but I kind of feel like there's certain things that should always be there. Like if you evolve the gameplay in a certain degree. You can't devolve it back to something else just because it's a different subsection or sub part of the IP. Oh, but this is Modern Warfare, so we're just gonna have worse movement. Why? just adopt it. It's fine. Just add it in there. At least that's how I feel about it. What do you think, Forte? Forte, did we lose you?
Oh, I was talking and I was muted. Do I care? I don't.
I don't know. Do you?
I don't.
Why don't you care?
Why should I?
You don't. Okay, are you going to play the next Call of Duty?
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
You don't care? Forte.
What?
Were you not paying attention again?
No, I was paying attention. I'm just saying, why? You know me, I'm a Battlefield person, so.
Well, I mean, I heard Battlefield's not even coming out this year.
That's what I hear too. It's a sad day too. But what were you?
So
go ahead.
So if Battlefield's not coming, so why would you? I mean, if you're going to play this, because Battlefield's not going to come out. I mean, would you want to go back to that?
No, I wouldn't want to go back to that.
So that's what. Then you care.
No, I'm just. It's like I don't care, but I don't want to go backwards. I do agree with. That's the thing. I really truly don't care, but ultimately, it's like things need to move forward. I hate when. Go ahead. What are you about to say?
I haven't seen, like, we play together, but I don't. Do you use it in Black Ops 6?
No.
Oh, so okay, so yeah, you don't care then. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
So you never use it whatsoever. When it first came out, I was old. I was doing crazy stuff. I was jumping off of buildings and
I tried
on the movement. Going flat and headshotting folks and stuff, and but it always felt to me like I was forcing myself to do it because it was there.
Yeah. That's how I feel. The only thing, like when I say, okay, so let me say it better. It's not that I don't care. It's the thing that I care, because I do care to an extent. As long as the game still plays and feels and moves the way that it moves right now, because I do think a little bit of a part of the fact that the game does run in, like, the movement is tied to the Omni movement too. I think it's part of it. I don't want
the movement overall is better.
Yeah, it's better. So I don't know how much of that is tied into the Omni movement system. So as long as we can get what we have now, and they kind of scale back on Omni movement and stuff, I don't have a problem with that. Now, if you're talking about it's like baked into each other, then I'd rather keep what we have and just keep iterating on that.
I think it is.
A little bit, and I think it is too.
Yeah. I mean, because like people think, when they think of Omni movement, they just think about how like diving backwards and shooting people, which sometimes I just do that automatically just based on the engagement. And I really, I just did that. I don't even really think about it. I'm kind of, just on the autopilot. But just the movement in general is better than Warfare 3 and definitely better than 2. I don't want to go back to movement as it was in 3. And I enjoy 3. But I'm enjoying the movement in Black Ops 6 more. I don't, but that's about the only thing I'm enjoying more when in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the guns, I think Modern Warfare 2 and 3 have better guns.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely have better maps. There are very few maps in Black Ops 6 I like.
No, I
and
definitely agree with that.
And so it just kind of, I don't know, like I don't want to. I feel like I'm starting to sound like some of the old school Call of Duty heads that's just like hate everything about Call of Duty now. And that's not me. You know, I'm still enjoying the game. I'm not playing it as much as I used to. I've barely touched this current season, but that's just due to all the other games that's out right now that I'm interested in playing. And so, and probably will continue now that I think about it, because, you know, after Expedition 33, you know, there's more games coming out this month and next month that I'm going to be wanting to play. And a lot of the live service games that I've been playing, Fortnite, I completed the battle pass for Fortnite, but I really kind of I felt like I forced myself to do it because I paid for it. And so I forced and I really wanted that Sub-Zero skin. So that's at the end of the battle pass. So I made sure I completed it, but it wasn't like I can't wait to jump on Fortnite. That hasn't been a feeling I've had for Fortnite in a very long time. So I don't know, man. It's just I don't like seeing good features not get adapted across the entire IP. Like, I get you want to have some things that are different, and you should. I do understand that Modern Warfare should feel different than Black Ops, but I feel like there's certain things that, you know, if one does something really, really good, really well, I feel like it should be just adapted for everything. But that's just me. Anything else you want to say on this, man?
Nope, that's it.
Alrighty, we are out of the rapid fires and getting into these these topics proper. So yesterday,
gun on me.
Oh my gosh, here you go.
My pinky toe.
My pinky toe. Yesterday we got a deep dive state of play for Black Ops. I said Black Ops. Borderlands 4. Did you get a chance to see it, Forte?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, let me just say this.
Is it?
It's about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see
and they're gonna do more. They're gonna show more. But there's something that I would say that I think you should probably know is that this next Borderlands will be. Well, I want to know your thoughts on this. This next Borderlands will be on one planet, and it's going to be open world. How do you feel about that?
I think that's cool. I think a lot of people are kind of tired of the open world aspect of it, but it really just comes down to like how they implement it. I'm always good for a lot of games, give you the variety of just having anything, anywhere you want, you can go and you can explore those areas. It just really comes down to how the game implements it, and if it does it well, it's going to be good. That would be a change in general, but I don't think anybody would really have it. Because if you think about games like how Breath of the Wild changed and stuff, where it was like more of a sandbox game, not a sandbox game, but where it was like more instance and stuff to like the different areas and different biomes and stuff you would go to. Then when they opened it up with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom to a more open world, you see that game got massive appeal from people that didn't even care about Zelda. Zelda's one of the best franchises out there, but it was nowhere near one of the best franchises that Nintendo had when it came to like sales and everything. So it can always definitely help a game by doing it if it's implemented correctly, but it just really comes down to people really care about it. So I definitely like the fact that they're going to try something different. Just really comes down to if it's going to land good with the people that support it the most.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people pretty critical about it, and I did the live stream on here, the live reaction to it when it went live, and I thought the world looked good visually.
Yeah.
Had a lot of verticality to it, a lot of mountains and stuff. Somebody, I think it was Miko. Shout out to Miko. He was in the stream. He said that it reminded him of Halo Infinite. And when he said that, at first I was like, I don't really see it. But then as I was looking at the footage that they showed again, I was like, oh yeah, because you can use a grappling hook to kind of like go up the taller areas.
Yeah.
And you know, and right, and so in the campaign, there was a lot of that with the different biomes you had. Not different biomes, but different like zones. They weren't really open world. It was like open sections, right? And you had like all these tall mountains and stuff that you could scale with the chief, and that grappling hook was a major game design choice that kind of allowed that to happen. And I can see that maybe that they saw that and implemented it somewhat in this, which is fine. You know, if you see something that works well, use it. Makes sense to me. Gunplay wise, I thought it looked fine. Again, that's something that you need to actually feel yourself to be able to know, you know, how responsive it is. I think some of the Vault Hunters look cool. I think the Siren looks cool. The Soldier dude looks cool. The big guy. Cool, true. The big guy, I don't know what his class is called. And the I don't know what the other girl is. The black girl. I don't like their designs. I don't really like how they look, but I'm not going to judge. You know, they might be dope characters, but you know, it's doing what they did before in the footage they showed. They had Amara from Borderlands 3 in there. They talked about Lilith. You know, what I'm hoping is that they're not going to follow the same story beats of the 2 and 3. Where it's just so super predictable, you know. Like I'm just like I don't need to be like, okay, so which one of the Borderlands 3 Vault Hunters are going to die this time?
Don't breathe.
You know, because it's just like
it still didn't sit well with me with the way they, you know, Maya went out.
It's weird to me that they just it just smacks me of like poor storytelling when you can't you just follow in the same story beats of your previous game that was well done, but like you don't have the creativity to make it any different. And it just really hit me. Who was that for? Is that Siren better not be the girl from 3, the annoying girl?
I think
I'm about to look it up.
The big girl?
I'm about to look it up. The big girl.
Isn't she like very physique, if I remember correctly?
No, that's Amara.
Oh, that is Amara. Yeah, that's Amara. You're right. That's Amara. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Siren that they show. Isn't that the same girl that was annoying in Borderlands 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, now I'm about to be like, there's only one Vault Hunter that I care for. That girl was so annoying in Borderlands 3. She's one of the worst things about that game. And maybe they write her differently in this one. And she's a grown adult now and not an annoying kid. So, you know, I'm actually about to double check it to make sure if that's her or not. But oh my gosh, like that. No, it's not her. Who is this? Her name is Vex. Yeah, Vex. That's not what that girl's name was in 3. So her face just looks like her. Like an older version of her. That's why I was like, oh, I think it's her. But that's fine. As long as she's not her, I'm happy. They listen to the fans. Also, they listen to the fans about some other things. I want to know your opinion on this. So you know how like in Borderlands 2, drop rates were rare. with super rare. Drop rates in Borderlands 3, there was just raining legendaries left and right. They're going back to the rarity of drop rates with legendaries again with Borderlands 4. And what's your opinion on that? I have an opinion, but I'm gonna hold off on mine until you tell me yours. What is your opinion on legendaries being a rare drop? That's the way they say like to be celebrated kind of thing, instead of I see them all the time, so it's too common.
So them making it more of a celebration, I get, because the rarities there's 4, isn't there? 4 rarities in Borderlands. It's been so long since I played. I know you got the common, then legendaries, and it wasn't like, what is the gold ones?
There's common, there's common, uncommon, rare, and then legendary.
Okay, so yeah, so legendary is the top. Okay, I mean, if they're just
there's common, rare, epic, and then legendary.
That's okay. Yeah, so epic is the one I was thinking.
Rare is blue. Okay, actually, there's more than 4. There's common, which is the white gear. Uncommon's green.
Green. The blue gear is what?
Blue is rare.
Yep.
Purple is epic.
It's epic.
And then gold is legendary.
Okay, so I had it backwards. I kept thinking legend. For some reason, I always look at legendary. Maybe because my Destiny side, legendaries were always purple, and then what's the names were gold. Yeah, but it's the opposite way around, where the legendaries are gold and epics are gold. What's the names are purple. But I get it. I mean, those big drops usually only came from like really big. I mean, it was a small chance to get them in the wild, but you had to pretty much take down some big bosses or some big set piece to be able to have the opportunity.
Or you had to farm a boss for a gazillion times to get a drop. And so for me, this is how I feel about it. There was a reason why you made it rain legendaries in 3, and it's because the drop rates in 2 were too strict.
Oh, they were
like some bosses had less than a 1% drop rate for legendary weapons, and they're the only person that drops it. For example, the conference call, which I understand why they kind of wanted to make it super rare.
On that cliff that you had to fight.
It wasn't even a boss. It was just some random guy. His name was like something Savage. And it's just he randomly walks around a particular area and you just go over there. He wasn't even hard to kill. You kill him. And then like less than 1% chance of him dropping the way. You literally had to farm this guy like all day long just to get him to drop a weapon. Like, that's not fun. Now, something that they did say that they're doing now, they are making bosses, you can replay all the bosses. So they'll have it as a mechanic in the game that you can just replay a boss. You can replay missions as well. If you want to get the full loot table of a particular mission, you can do that too. So they're with them saying that, though, that kind of gives me the feeling that it's going to be super rare. It's going to be like Borderlands 2 rare. I would like a happy balance of,
I remember when you used to
not as rare as 2, but not as plentiful as 3.
Remember Terramorphous? It was like the best thing to have was the conference call on him in Borderlands 2.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing about like those raid bosses, like Terramorphous. They gave you a guaranteed legendary drop every time you killed it.
That's why people farmed the hell out of Terramorphous.
Right, because you were guaranteed to get at least one,
Yeah, right.
And I don't know if you remember this or not. There was a particular mission. I think it was the one where you're trying to help Mordecai get his bird back, and you're at the wildlife preservation center, and there is a particular room that had like these 4 boxes, and you would destroy I'm sorry, not sure. You would open the boxes and these little tiny little bots would come out and you would kill them and they would just rain loot. It would just be loot all over the place. And people would just farm that particular section of that mission over and over and over again. And that, like, that's also not fun. So it's like when people are doing that, when people are farming sections like the loot cave in Destiny, like it is symptomatic of a problem that your content isn't fun enough for people to keep playing and hoping of getting the loot that they want through that method. That they will find a loophole or a exploit in your game and then do that instead, knowing it's not fun, but they're not getting the weapons they want. Mm-hmm. They're not getting the gear that they want. And if someone finds a way to do it easier, they're going to do it. We see it in every looter shooter. You know, the Division had that. You know, everyone has had it. But it's just, you have to make the content fun enough that people don't look for those kind of things.
Right.
They're too busy having fun playing your game. And so I feel like they need a happy medium here with that. They need a happy medium in between. It's, you know, it not as hard to get what you're looking for with S2, but then not as generous as 3 was. And then
right.
and one more thing. So you remember back in the day how people used to like make their own weapons? I don't know if you remember that and that, but that was a thing. In Borderlands, people would make their own weapons. And what you would do is that you would make a copy. You would take your game file save, put it on like a USB. You connect it to a computer, run it through a program, and then you could just like modify the game files. And people would do that to get better gear, or the kind of gear that they want. It seems like they're implementing a version of that. What's up, Soil Tech? How you doing, man? It seems like people are implementing a version that Gearbox implementing a version of that in this game, where you can kind of like say change your grip to a Valdorf. Like it's through the corporations, right? So like each corporation has certain attributes that you just kind of know that corporation would have. Like if you have a Vladov gun, you know it's single fire, but it does a lot of damage. If you have a Malawan weapon, you know that it is probably has like an element on it, but low base damage, that kind of stuff. Now it seems like they're allowing you to be able to pick and choose if you want to have a Theodore. I said Theodore. I think it's Tador, whatever it's called. That corporation is called. If you want that kind of scope, but with like an Atlas barrel and a Vladov grip, you can kind of create a gun or modify a gun to kind of have those changes. And I think that will kind of keep people from going outside the game to do those things and being able to do it in the game. It kind of actually add a little bit more build diversity to the title overall. What are your thoughts on that?
For the most part, I think it really comes back to excuse me. What is this? So the biggest thing with Borderlands to me is I'm trying to think when it comes to like that. Oh, wait, man, my wife calling me. Hold on a second. I was trying to answer your question while I'm typing her. Let me finish doing. Go ahead and just talk for a second. She asked me something real quick.
All right, cool. I guess the last thing I could really probably speak on is the skill trees. I think what it looks like here is, and it's actually showing the skill trees on the Jumbotron right now. They seem to be more detailed and have more diversity than the previous ones did. And like in the previous Borderlands games, you would get 3 skill trees per character that you could kind of mix and match which skills work for you in your build. But it seems like for each skill tree, you get about halfway through it, and then it splits off into 3 branches. And so you really kind of have like actually like 3 skill trees and 9 branches total to kind of figure out how you want to build your character, which
All right, I'm back.
I love build crafting. Cool. Yeah, I love build craft and when they're looter shooters. And so I like what I saw from the skill tree. I seeing the potential with the way it shows is great. If it actually works though is different, because I kind of feel like build diversity in Borderlands 3 wasn't as good as it was in 2 or even pre-sequel. And it's good to have a lot of options, but if the options all stink or they're not that great, then I mean, what do you really have? You know, like because when it comes to looters with me, I check out when I can't build nothing no more.
Right.
Like I like to build different things and then have that be my setup. And then especially if I'm still playing with people, you know, I'll have a build that I would have like my solo build. I'll have my build with other teammates, and maybe I'll go like a support medic build, you know, depending on the kind of builds that other people I'm playing with may have. You know, like I'm open to kind of, you know, being free with that kind of stuff. But if the build diversity sucks, then I check out because I get bored fast. You know, like I uninstalled the Division 2 about 8-9 months ago, and I uninstalled it because it was like I was bored. Like once I started doing like one-shot sniper builds where I'm like wiping the content pretty quickly, and there's no real new content being added to really like, you know, keep that aspect of things interesting, I don't care no more. So these are just things I'm saying that like, I hope that they nail. And I know they're supposed to be doing another reveal of something before September, which again, maybe that's why it feels odd they did this deep dive now in April when the game don't come out until another like 5 months. But we'll see more when we'll know more when they show more. But the questions I had for you, Forte, was about the skill trees.
Yeah.
And about crap. What was I saying before that? Well, just answer the question about the skill trees. The other one come back to me.
Yeah, so skill trees wise, the best parts about Borderlands is build diversity, making your character into what you want it to be. Especially when you're talking about going across 4 characters. Traditionally in Borderlands, every character plays differently, and then being able to go down different archetypes of those trees is really, really cool. I really, really like that. And then when you finally find weapons that really marry up to what kind of build you're trying to do, the game is incredible. That's the one thing that has always persisted, I felt like, inside of Borderlands. So seeing this little deeper evolution into the steel tree is really, really cool. I wish they could go a little bit further with it, but you know, I kind of know that it takes a lot to like kind of diversify the way characters interact with each other, because that's another thing that you do when you have certain characters. They kind of play off of each other when it comes to like their abilities. I remember, you know, Borderlands 2 doing when I would use Maya and hold people in the air, teleport in the air, and you can have other characters come through and do bash and stuff like that and take them out. It was just really, really cool. And just seeing that how teamwork, especially if you got 4 people playing, it's like epic on the screen. So right. I really, really like the direction they do with that, and seeing that they're actually going a little bit further in that direction is really cool. But you know, it ultimately comes down to just the execution and what they're doing for the most part. And you never really truly know how a character is going to play by just looking at that skill tree and just see. You can kind of plot out an idea of what you want your character to be. But the one thing that always kind of happens in Borderlands is you kind of want to unlock everything. And then once you get to that apex character when you're playing at those super high levels and you see that you can pick from different parts of the skill tree in order to make the character truly what you want it to be, is the thing that I look forward to the most. That's why I was like kind of super disappointed in like a lot of the later Borderlands, because I feel like skill expression was still there, but getting to that point was kind of the drag because of just the way that the way that the game not played, but the story. Like if you can't get into the story as much as you need to, it's kind of hard to kind of push through and keep doing those things in order to make you want to get your character to that point.
I'm glad you brought that up because it reminded me of something else. So like, you know, Handsome Jack, fantastic villain, probably one of the best villains in video games ever, right?
Right.
And that was Borderlands 2. Villains, the twins in Borderlands 3, awful. All they really talked about in Borderlands 4 is that there's this new corporation.
Right.
But maybe it's just me, but like this IP has always done better when it's been a good antagonist that's going after you. Borderlands 1's campaign was fine. Wasn't great, but it was okay. But it was better with General Knock involved. You know, a good antagonist always kind of like really sets the tone with these kind of games. Handsome Jack, great.
Right, great.
The twins, not great. You know, like when the antagonist doesn't really work, then it doesn't work. And a faceless corporation, I think it's kind of like a punt. Like you're not really trying to deliver what the story needs. So you're trying to just go in a different direction, you know? And I'm hoping that like maybe a new antagonist that's actually good is actually in the game. It probably works for that corporation the same way Handsome Jack worked for Hyperion, right? And maybe it's just, you know, it just needs to be shown later on. But just talking about the corporation without actually introducing this villain gets me a little concerned. But you're right. Like they're trying to with the open world format, they're trying to find ways to get people to replay content without doing it the way they replay content in Borderlands before, which is replaying the game over and over again in order to, you know, get new loot and try new things and stuff like that, and replaying that same kind of content. They're trying to go the open world format, which it could work if it's executed well. It could definitely work, but we'll have to see. I'll be there day one. I know you talked about being there, you know, at day one. So we're going to live stream it. We're going to have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to say on this one before we get to this last topic?
We get to the last topic, the creme de la creme. No, I'm good, man. Can't wait for that Borderlands. I'm glad it's coming out 2 weeks earlier.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Today has been an eventful day because, there's been a lot of gnashing of teeth and tearing of clothing in regards to an announcement that Microsoft made in regards to everything. So it seems like Microsoft now, when it comes to Xbox consoles, the console hardware, the accessories, and their games, the price of the brick has gone up for everything. Everything. So the new price of the Xbox Series S is now $379. The new price of the Xbox Series.
Hold on. Before you said $379, right?
Yeah.
That is a increase in price of how much, SloMo?
$80.
$80. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna tell you all of them as we go.
Okay. The 1 terabyte Xbox Series S is $429.
And guess what, guys? And the price is $70 difference. Go ahead, Slomo.
The next one is the Xbox Series X is now $599.
That is, if you for all the people out there, $100 difference.
And hold on to your seat. The 2 terabyte Xbox Series X Galaxy Black is now $729.
That is $130 difference for a system that got specs on it with a double the size hard drive. Go ahead, Slomo.
All the accessories are up at various different levels. I'm not going to get into all of them, but they all have gone up. You know, the outdated Elite 2.0 controller with the kit, with the controller box to put it in and all that stuff is now
went up $20. Went up to $199.
Yeah, it's now yeah. And then the core one is now, I think before it was like $120, now it's like $150.
$130, it's $150 now.
The very basic and plain Xbox headset is $120. I think it was. Yeah, it's just everything has gone up. And now we're getting into what people are really upset about. Because we can get into the hardware and how, like, when your hardware is down consistently every single quarter, every single financial report, your hardware is down. And it's down single digits this quarter that they just showed the data for yesterday, which some people may say, well, it's not that bad. It is that bad because last year they were down double digits, and not just like 15%, like 30, 40% down. So now you're even further down from where you were. You was down bad last year. Now you're even down bad now. It's just, it's not good. They're not making hardware. They only make enough hardware to fulfill the request needed for the cost, and the demand isn't very high. This is them trying to mitigate costs by not making a lot and having them sitting in inventory, waiting for companies like Forte's company to say, "Hey, look, we want to request $50K more," but they're not making those kind of requests. They're making those requests to Nintendo and Sony. They're not making them to Microsoft because the demand isn't there. So, but the games. They have announced that some new Xbox games will be priced at $79.99 later this year. We can already think about what the very first one will be. It will be Call of Duty. It's going to be $80.
Right.
I can't see them doing that for the Outer Worlds 2. I wouldn't put it past them because they've made incredibly dumb decisions before. But the Outer Worlds 2 is a AA game. And I just can't see them pricing, they said some games, which tells me that they at least have some common sense that, like, you can't price, no matter how well we think the Outer Worlds 2 is going to do, you can't price a AA game of that caliber at $80. You ain't lost your damn mind. Now, Call of Duty is kind of like Mario Kart World, and probably GTA is probably going to be $80 too. Just get used to it, right? These games, their brand IP is so strong, you can pretty much name your price. A lot of the hardcore community that plays those games spend more than the base price for the game anyway. But the higher the price goes, the more you're kind of like getting people who will check out. And before I turn this over to Forte, I'll just say this, what I said on Twitter, which is pretty much what I also said in regards to the Nintendo Switch pricing, is that if it's not worth it to you, don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
let the market dictate their bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a lot of people feel like it ain't worth it, and frankly, when it comes to Xbox hardware, at the previous price, people didn't think it was worth it. And the only time they were positive is when they severely discounted the Xbox hardware. So they're not dummy. They're not stupid in the sense that they don't understand how that data looks, and that our hardware's not up. Making this kind of move isn't going to get our hardware up either. But I also think that they don't care. I heard about this last week, and I was like, wow, they really are going to do this. And frankly, earlier tonight, Arcade asked, is this a tariffs issue? And I'll say this, yes and no. Yes, it's a tariffs issue because a lot of the pricing of things going up is due to costs being added to products that are being made in countries where tariffs are being applied. But that isn't the reason why, specifically the reason why Microsoft is doing it. That's maybe the reason why Sony and Nintendo are doing it. Microsoft is doing it because they did it. They can get away with it. And when they see that the reaction to Mario Kart World is being $80 is complaining, but yeah, we're gonna buy it anyway though. But they go, hey, it worked for them. And look, some of y'all may be like, SloMo, you don't know that for certain. I do though. I do know for certain that's why they did it, because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
They're going to charge $80 for some games because they know people will buy them. That variable pricing that Doug Bowser was talking about a few weeks ago, Satya loves that.
Yes, he does.
He all about that variable pricing. And the reason why I'm not angry is because I'm all about that variable choosing. Because if it ain't worth it to me, I ain't buying it. Period. You know, it's not even a question. But I just need, the market to start walking the walk that y'all talk. Y'all talk like we ain't about this. We're not going to accept this. Yeah, you will.
Yeah, you will.
Because you keep doing it all the time. So if you really about that business, if you really like, this is unacceptable, and we shouldn't be allowing these corporations to just price these games the way they do, okay, don't buy it. Don't buy the next Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear the whole, well, I'm going to play it in Game Pass and then I'm going to go get the Black Sale. I only spent $30 on the Black Sale. All right. You're not helping. That's exactly what they want. They just fine with you playing it through Game Pass and then spending more money on Black Sale. Doesn't matter to them. It's just, if the market actually, with their own actions, did what they said, if their actions match their mouth, some of these things would be priced the way they are. And some of them would be, but corporations choosing to change their prices because they know they can. And they know they can because they saw a competitor with a like IP or product do it. I mean, there's a reason for that. And the reason is because many of y'all ain't got no backbone. Forte, what are your thoughts, bro?
Man, when I saw the price list of how stuff's going up, I was like, man, not only do they not care about their hardware, they don't care if you pay. This is basically them saying like, yeah, we don't really care about it, but if you really want it, we gonna make you pay for it. So I do think tariffs have a part to do with it, but when it comes to a lot of the other stuff, I think they're just doing it because they can do it. I mean, when you see Nintendo come out here, listen, man, when Nintendo come out here and they're charging you $110 for Joy-Cons, $30 more than the last set of Joy-Cons, and they're not all they are. They, all it has is a little C button. I mean, there's some other stuff inside of it, but is it $30 for a set better than the last set of Joy-Cons without holodeck sticks and everything? I don't know. We have to wait to see. If I had to guess, probably not. But Nintendo decided that was a good price point. But this just lets me know, like, once that happened, it kind of opens the gate for other platform holders or other publishers or developers to like do things like this when it comes to their games and their accessories. So with Xbox doing these little price hikes, and depending on what it is, it's pretty huge. Like, not so much on the accessory side, but on the hardware side, it's like, yo, this just lets me know at some point, if people are going to say, well, why we got to bring PlayStation into this, it's not too far. We're gonna see a $800 to $900 PlayStation Pro in the near future. At some point, it's going to happen. It's just when it's going to happen. Everybody know that this was kind of,
it's going to go up.
Yeah, it's going up. We don't know how high, but if I'm thinking about a Series S 2 terabyte being $599 initially, going up to $729, I can easily see a PS5 Pro going up to like $850, $879, something like that. Let's hope it doesn't happen, but you never. But with the direction that everything's going, it kind of feels that way. This is the funniest thing,
though, right? If you think about it, this is the funniest thing, and if you really, because the people think like, oh, it's just because of the tariffs. Once the tariffs are over, they drop the price.
No, they're not.
The tariffs are in the United States.
Yeah.
Why are they raising the price worldwide?
Right, worldwide. Yeah, they're not raising it in other territories. They're raising it here.
No. They are raising it in other territories.
That's what I'm saying. I said it backwards. I said the tariffs are different in other areas in different countries, but here and everywhere they're raising it to the same price pretty much. So, and then whatever your market equivalent is, I feel bad for people that live in Canada and stuff.
It's bad in Canada, man.
That means your Series X, like, that used to cost $500, is going to probably cost you like close to $700-800 now. That's wild, bro. So, it's very unfortunate. Not so much, like I said, hardware, we kind of knew it was going to happen. But we also had a feeling like people thought that $80, $70 games was going to be like the new standard, which they were for a good 4 years, pretty much. I mean, now, when Nintendo coming out the door, Donkey Kong at $70, Tears of the Kingdom was $70 last 2 years ago when they released it for the first. That was the first Nintendo game to do it. Now we got a pack-in game, Mario Kart, going for $80. You're going to see other games hitting that threshold. Grand Theft Auto is not going to be a $70 game. It may not hit 100. I do have a bet your knees with King David that game's probably going to be $100, but or more, like anywhere above 90. But this is the new reality. Developers are talking, publishers are talking about how extensive these games need to be and how much more time and effort and money they need to put into them. So they're going to end up charging the end consumer for that. Just like tariffs are not something that these companies have to like fund themselves. That is just the price to do a business. They're going to be like, okay, if it costs us more to import this stuff into the country after we get it made, then we're passing that on to the consumer. So that's just a small part of it. But like SloMo, like you said, a bigger part of it is the fact that they can do it. They know they can do it. They're going to do it if they can. And you know what Xbox is going to do, especially people that's on Game Pass. They're going to talk about how Game Pass is an even better deal for the games and stuff. So you can play these games inside the Xbox ecosystem for the price of your Game Pass subscription, which at some point will go up again. We don't know when that's going to happen. But as of right now, with the price of their games going up to a minimum of almost $80 or up to $70, it's even more of a situation where you feel like if there's 2 games coming out in the calendar year that you know you're going to want and they're going to be inside the Game Pass, that's almost better to have that than spend, the individual dollars to get these games. And then on top of that, they're probably going to do like what Nintendo's doing, where they're going to give you a bigger, like a discount on the games if you buy digital. At least we hope that's the case, and they don't charge more for the physical, even though Xbox really doesn't have a physical distribution anymore. That's the thing I think people really have to start worrying about, because now you're going to be buying these games, and if it's if it's a game that you're only going to play to completion, and once you beat it, it doesn't have any real replay value for you after that. Like if you beat it 1 or 2 times, are you ever going to go back to it? Because there's a lot of people that do go back to games. But now what is going to be the reason for you to want to buy these games day one? Are you going to wait as an investment to say oh, the game is cheaper now, it's a $60 or $70, $50 game, I'll jump in now? I think that's going to happen for a lot of people. They'll still be interested in the game. You'll still have a lot of people that's going to be day one subscribers to whatever game they want, because gamers don't wait for games if they really, really want to play it. But then when it comes to the casual market, how much of that are you going to lose due to this? Because there are casuals that only play Madden, Call of Duty, NBA, Grand Theft Auto when that comes around. But there are those games that do pique people's interests every once in a while. How much of that is going to get kind of stifled due to the fact that these prices are going up? And, even knowing casuals run the market, it really comes down to, if you even lose 10% of the market and saying that they refuse to pay just for the random game, pay an extra $10 to $15, $20 more for it, that's going to hurt the industry, as a whole overall. So, I mean, it's the situation we're in, but I just think that these corporations and these publishers and platform holders, I don't think they're really looking at the long-term game of it versus what they need to do now to basically just adapt to what's happening. It's the same thing that kind of happened with COVID. During COVID, they thought that this bursting community of gamers was still going to be around 5, 6, 7 years later, and didn't have the foresight to understand that a lot of these people left gaming a long time ago because of real life and stuff, and they had other priorities. And the reason they came back is because they found themselves in a place that they haven't been in a while, which was stuck at home with nothing to do. And they reverted back to that one thing that they loved doing when they were younger to take up their time, and that was gaming. So not only did they fail there in realizing that, I feel like they're going to fail with this one too when it comes to thinking that it's going to help overall, because I think with the price of stuff's going up, all you're doing is making it a little bit harder for the normal average gamer to get into the ecosystem or just to upgrade their system at this point. I would tell people now, and then I'm gonna let you go. I would tell people now, if you are on the fence about getting a console, a next-gen console, Xbox Series S, PS5, PS5 Pro, anything like that, I would make that move sooner rather than later, before these prices kick in across the country, because we already know what's in America as of right now. What's in the country now isn't going to be pretty much affected by it, but all of that new inventory that comes in, that's what you're going to see it really, really hit. So definitely plan ahead and don't wait.
Also, the way they do supply and demand, Microsoft that is, because they didn't have a lot of supply, the pricing kind of went into effect sooner than it has in the United States than it did with PlayStation. PlayStation probably, I think a couple of things are in play with them, and the reason why we don't see the increase hitting the United States quite yet. That 90-day stay thing, I think that's still in effect. When that is no longer in effect, I think they'll increase the price. where I think they did a pause on the tariffs for 90 days. I think that's part of it. The other part of it is they had a ton of supply. And so they have a ton of supply that is already in country. And so they can kind of, rely on that at the current pricing for now. But once they need to restock, then it's going to be a problem. And it's going to go up. I anticipate Sony pricing for hardware, accessories, and mirroring, probably mirroring certain games being $80. I expect them to do that sometime this summer. So, if you were one of the people that were out there laughing about this earlier today and saying, now on my platform, you might want to slow your roll on that. I saw a lot of people saying, hey, Sony's not doing this for now. They have the for now because they already know what's good. They already know what might end up being the problem. So all that said, let me also get into the financial stuff. For those who care about Microsoft's fiscal year 2025 Q3 quarter 3 earnings, gaming revenue overall is up 5%. As we said earlier, hardware revenue is down 6%. Content and services revenue is up 8%, driven by growth in Game Pass, Call of Duty, and Minecraft. And that's really going to fuel a lot of the business right now when they see growth in those 3 areas and what they want to see more growth in, especially with Game Pass on PC. They want to see a lot of growth there. And I remember listening in on a call, the previous call, where they did a Q&A session after the earnings call, and they specifically talked about how they liked the growth they were having on PC. I know there are Xbox gamers that are holding out hope that they just want to know that there's definitely going to be more hardware coming, and they intend on delivering more hardware. I just don't know if you're going to get hardware the way you want it, because the next Xbox hardware is not just the design of it and the implementation of it that's going to be very different than what you got from Xbox Series X and S. Content's going to be different. Next year, every single Xbox first-party game is going to be everywhere. I mean, you think about it right now. Everything that we know that they're dropping later this year is coming to PlayStation and potentially Switch 2. Outer Worlds 2, initially announced as an exclusive, now it's going to PlayStation. Call of Duty was always multi-platform, so they got Forza Horizon 5 over there now. Doom: The Dark Ages is the next first-party game coming out. That's multi-platform. Everything is going everywhere. So, when the next hardware comes out, the only uniqueness of it to attract people to buy it is going to be whatever actual features that it has or services that it may have. It's not going to be the content, unfortunately. And it's more than likely not going to be subsidized. So they already have moved on from the previous supply and demand model that we've seen a lot in this console arena. Now they just make enough units to supply the demand. They're not trying to stockpile units in case demand ever grows, because they don't anticipate it growing, and they don't care if it grows or not. like, isn't half of the top 10 sold games on PlayStation produced by Microsoft or something like that, right? They don't care. They don't care about Xbox gamers. You know, they used to be all on, you know, Twitter and social media, you know, talking with everyone, engaging with everyone. Say a word now. Because you were always, you know, if you thought you were engendering a friendship with these people, you were work. You're a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're a client. And when and now that they don't no longer have to engage with you for work, they don't. And they won't. Because they don't care. And so I think it's a blessing in disguise for a lot of these guys. And I'm hoping that, you know, a lot of them start to wake up. I saw some of the usual suspects making excuses. Mm-hmm. And then I saw a lot of people that, you know, hardcore Xbox, you know, gamers, that's just like, you know, this is unacceptable. But again, I go back to what I said before about if it's unacceptable to you, you know what you need to be doing. Like, don't say it's unacceptable and then you still, you know, you still being a pay pig. So, you know, that's not going to help. The only power you have is your wallet. But I'm sorry, I've been rambling. Forte, what any more you want to say about this?
I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how Microsoft overall is going to be going forward with Xbox in general. We already know what the direction is when it comes to putting more games in other places and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's going to come down to like how those games do in those other environments too. So we definitely know that they're definitely going to be looking for a lot of growth inside of Game Pass, especially. I think honestly they're going to be probably looking for a lot more growth inside of Game Pass, seeing that the prices of this stuff is going up. I think that's kind of a twofold thing because, you know, it's kind of crazy for you not to think that they're kind of factoring in how sales are going to be impacted even more due to the price hike of the fact that people will be kind of priced out of buying their systems depending on what tier you're at, and the fact that the games are going to be a little bit higher too. So they probably built in the fact that we're thinking like, well, games and services are probably going to take an uptick due to that. And then you're also talking about the PlayStation fan base, and on the Nintendo fan base going to be buying those games and stuff too. So they already going to be seeing really good growth overall. But when it comes to like their own platform, I just see it just kind of disintegrating more and more and more. Part of me is glad because I told you last show I was thinking about getting rid of my Series X. I'm glad I didn't, because not only for the fact that the system is going up in price, so could I say, like I said, I could always get another one, but I also happy I didn't do it because that might actually help with trade prices, because the fact that these systems are going to be more expensive, that means what you get for them now will be probably a little bit more later on if you ever did decide to try to do that. But when it comes to just the overall direction that I feel like they're going to go in with everything, they're not taking it slow anymore. The marching orders have been put out there. The financials are the financials. The things that we have to do in order to stay profitable year over year are still not going to change. And they're going to use these games as the ammunition to be able to do it. The biggest question is, are those games going to stand up and be the pillars that they need them to be? You know, as of, you know, so far, and people don't realize this, of all of their like really big deals that they got inside of Game Pass, it's been a long time since they had a third-party game like Expedition 33 like that in there that did really, really well inside of Game Pass.
It's probably the best third-party game that has launched in Game Pass ever.
Of all the games that even if we talk about games they did marketing deals with, you know,
like Outriders and look, think about Outriders was a good game, but
it was a good game. I loved it.
Expedition 33 is better.
Yep.
Other games that we see launch in Game Pass, you already got kind of know the publisher didn't believe in it. Like at some point, whether it was through focus testing or their own like eye on it and just knowing how the markets are, they looked at the game and said, yeah, that ain't gonna work. Great example of that is coming up next month with Remedy and FBC Firebreak.
Mm-hmm.
Remedy has already given up on that game selling. So they went ahead and put it in PS Plus and Game Pass. They took a bag from both companies to help mitigate costs on expenses, which is something that Remedy has done in the past, but not at launch. That Control has been on Game Pass multiple times and on PS Plus multiple times, but it wasn't there at launch. They took it back from Epic Games Store on PC to be timed exclusive. And so Remedy is open to these kind of things, but to put it in subscription services at launch already kind of tells me you don't anticipate it doing that great. Mm-hmm. We saw this with Ubisoft with Rainbow Six Extraction, which was initially called Rainbow Six Quarantine. It was their extraction shooter. Yep. That thing's dead. That thing flopped hard. And it was less than a month before it came out. They put it in Game Pass. Same thing with Outriders.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that I don't know if Sarah Bond is still making these deals or not. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I want to give her credit for getting Expedition 33 in there. I feel like that was probably her deal. I want to give her credit for it. But before she was president of Xbox, she was running Game Pass. And I feel like these things don't happen overnight, but it's a process. And so if she's working on these publishers, trying to get them to put content into Game Pass, and she's definitely working to try to get that stuff in there at launch, because that's the biggest impact. And they're holding back. Like, you know, a publisher isn't going to want to put their top number one game of the year in your service. They're not going to do that. Not when they had a pricing structure set for the game all the way back when it was in pre-production. They're not trying to do that. But for a lesser title, like Capcom, for example, Capcom put Exo Primal. Was it Exo Primal? Yeah. What was the multiplayer? Came out a year or two ago. I can't remember the name of it. It was like a, damn it, I forgot it. Exo something.
Exo, what was it?
They put whatever that game was called. It had dinosaurs in it.
Oh,
but yeah. It wasn't Dino. You know, there wasn't a dinosaur game that everyone wants, right? But
wasn't it
they
called,
put that in there.
It was Exo Primal.
Okay, so I got it right. So
yeah, it was Exo
Capcom
Primal.
Would put Exo Primal in Game Pass, but wouldn't put Resident Evil Village in Game Pass. Why? Because Village is their top with their game, but their top game that they're dropping and launching that year. Exo Primal is a project that they hope does well, but looked at it and was like, it probably ain't. Let's go do what we can to try to recover some cost off of this. So I say all that to say that like that's kind of how a lot of that stuff ends up. And with Game Pass, like, you're gonna get your gems, because there's been a number of really good indie games that I've played through Game Pass, and indie developers are different. Their struggle is trying to get attention on their game in a crowded storefront, and so getting into Game Pass lowers the number of potential competitors for eyes for them. And if your game's really good, then, you know, the publisher, whether it be Sony with PS Plus or Xbox with Microsoft with Game Pass, they're going to want to promote your game and market your game because you're making their service look good. So it becomes a mutual thing. And indie devs, all the praise we see from Game Pass from developers, they're all indie developers. All of them. The biking game where you're just going downhill, I forgot what it's called. That one, he loves talking about Game Pass. They're all indie devs because they got free marketing for their game, not free, but way cheaper marketing than it would have cost for them to finance that themselves. For being in the service, they're not in there forever like the first party games for these platforms. So they're eventually going to leave, and if you love the game that much, you're going to buy it. So they got the bag for being in there, and they got the bag from you because you bought it. I mean, that's how, in the perfect world, how it works, but it works better for indies because a AAA publisher isn't going to spend $300 million on this game and then put it in your service at launch. It's just not going to happen. And so I say all that to say, I think Microsoft understands that at this point. But they also understand that, like, it doesn't matter what they put, like Call of Duty proved it. It doesn't matter what they put in Game Pass. It's not going to increase hardware sales for them. And a lot of that is stuff that we've talked about before. Like I'm still seeing Korean gamers saying, hey, I would love to own an Xbox if your games actually worked well. And if your games were actually localized correctly, where you actually had the dialogue translated good in Korean, and it was done and optimized well and play tested well and didn't break the game. You just, come on. So these are the challenges that they've refused to fix. Mm-hmm. And, that would definitely improve the way them internationally, but even in your home country, you don't market your games. I know I'm about to shut up after this.
No, you're good.
Have you seen the marketing that they've done for Forza Horizon 5 on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Where's that marketing for their own games on Xbox?
Listen, man, I was like, it would have been nice for them to market this game 3 years ago. It's like
it's like the spouse that gets all nice for the side for the other one, but not for the main. It's just like you doing a whole lot for the side chick or the side dude, but you're giving your spouse nothing. Barely trying. It's crazy. It's very obvious to me that all this time they knew what marketing does. They just never believed that people would buy the product. So why bother?
Wow.
Marketing, spending money on the marketing. So anything else you want to say on this, man?
No, man.
We get up out of here.
No, you said it all, man. It was that's a good time right there listening to you. I think we did get a little bit of, well, probably not angry slow-mo, but we got a little bit.
I'm not angry. I am content because I've been here. We've had these conversations offline. Everything they're doing right now, we've been talking about for over a year. So this is for the rest of y'all. Me and Forte been on this stuff.
Yeah.
We have been discussing these things for over a year.
Yep.
And the things we're discussing right now is things that they're going to do a year or two from now. And you're not going to like that either.
Nope. You said you ain't gonna like that either.
So, and I'm not gonna say it because I know there's a lot of people that got sources and they hear things. and I know their sources is real because I hear the same thing from mine. And then when I know it's like when it's within a day or two of my source telling me something, and then their sources are saying the same things, I'm like, all right, they got real sourcing. But they be out here saying way too much. and I know for a fact Microsoft is not cool with the leaks, and they are actively going after leakers. So for someone to confide in me information, I don't say anything until either I know for certain it's out because enough people have talked about it, or I know there is enough people who know the information that if I say it, it's not going to put anybody's job in jeopardy. Right. So I say all that to say, I'm not going to speak on some of the things that's coming, but y'all ain't gonna like. Y'all ain't gonna like it. You know, like if you care about the platform, if you're someone who cares about the quote unquote Xbox platform, and when I say the platform, I mean all of it, the brand, the identity, and the hardware, not just whatever is doing good at this point in time. When you care about all that stuff, you know, like, look, they're gonna make their money regardless, and that's going to happen. But how they make it and where things end up, you know, how this company ends up looking in the future, you know, you may not be liking where they're going, but it is what it is. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Forte?
Nope, that's it.
Bet. All right, outros, man. When are you dropping a video? Never.
No, not never. I don't even want to say when. Soon though. Once I get through being captain of the ship, and man, let me tell you something. Everybody's been there, but literally being the only functional member of the family that can do everything in a house. Like my daughter, like I told you guys, my daughter had just started her new job and everything, so she doesn't drive, so I have to take her for like the last 4 days. Doing that, going to my youngest daughter runs track, so having to go to her track meets and stuff because mom can't be there, and then all this other stuff. It's like, it's cooking. Oh my god. It's like,
yeah, man, lot. Cooking is, you know, I used to hate cooking, and now I don't know, maybe I'm just getting that old now, where now I'm like, I look forward to it.
Yeah, no, I definitely, it's definitely something that I've gotten used to, because I'm
starting to experiment now. Experiment with certain things.
You be looking at TikTok.
Yeah, you know, you know,
TikTok recipes.
Every now and then, you know, like other times I'll just be like, I'll see a recipe and I'll make it the way the recipe says to make it, and then I will tweak some things and just kind of see how that works, you know. Maybe change an ingredient here or there, just something that I think would work better, and then I try it out, and kids like it, so I can't complain. Hey, True Bleed, watch your mouth, man. Said the old and washed. I ain't washed, man, just because I like that. I'm enjoying cooking every now and then. I don't cook every night and nothing like that. I could do it, but you know, once a week, I'm good with once a week. But anything else you want to say, man? Forte?
Yeah.
You alright?
No, yeah. No, I'm good. Why you say that?
You ain't hear nothing I said, did you?
I did just hear you.
I said anything, then you wouldn't be. All right, look, we're good.
No, I thought. Oh, I didn't do my. I swear to. Oh, I was talking about just right. You cut me. I was thinking like I did my outro, Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation, DPS podcast next week. Can't wait the guys to see you. ILP this Sunday, gonna be great. Have fun over there too. Be on the lookout for a whole bunch of other stuff.
Shout out to Landlords.
And we will have the super chat button up and running with the members and everything for you guys next week. We'll get that taken care of this week for you guys. But really appreciate you guys. Like I said earlier, make sure you purchase your next gen console soon. Don't wait. If you don't want to, don't do it. But don't expect to be getting these things cheaper than they actually are right now for the rest of the year, because we already know the writing on the wall. So take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cool. And I owe you guys a live stream. I think I'll be able to do it this weekend now that the home improvement stuff is over with, and I got a little bit more time. I can probably be able to get that done. I don't know if I want to live stream this game that I've been playing. I'll probably have to play something else, because I'm so far into the game now that like anything that I'm doing is a spoiler. So I don't want to spoil the game for y'all, because I think the story's fantastic, and I wouldn't want to ruin anyone else's experience by doing that. So maybe come up with some ideas for something else for me to play. Not Death Stranding, not what's the name of that dumb game you guys made me play for like 3 hours? None of that dumb crap. Nothing that I ain't gonna play. Let's just be real, okay?
Right.
But I'll play something this weekend, and if something else pops up, we may do a live stream or two. It depends. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And
enjoy it.
Enjoy your games, man. Peace.